Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cryptic Conversations. I'm your host, Tunes from the Crypt, and we have another very special guest in store today. Today's guest is a woman named Victoria Gallagher. Also, be sure to stick around to the end because Victoria has a free copy of her Law of Attraction planner that will show you how to gain access to at the end of this episode. So nonetheless, Victoria Gallagher is a renowned expert in hypnosis, best-selling author, international speaker, life success coach, and authority on the law of attraction. Through her expertise, she has helped countless individuals tap into the power of their subconscious minds to overcome limitations, create positive transformations, and manifest their deepest desires. As a best-selling author, Victoria has shared her knowledge and insights through her books, which have become valuable resources for personal growth and empowerment. Her work has touched the lives of people around the globe, providing practical techniques and guidance to help individuals align with their dreams and create a life of abundance. Her ability to communicate the principles of the law of attraction and empower individuals to live a life of liberty and fulfillment is truly remarkable. In addition to her expertise, Victoria serves as a life success coach, guiding clients to unlock their full potential. And I'm excited to have her share her profound wisdom and insights with us today. Welcome, Victoria Gallagher.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's like, who is that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what every guest says. I'm real excited to speak with you today. I've had a couple of hypnotherapists on the podcast, but I think I'm real excited to speak with you today because you niched down more and focus on the law of attraction. So, I've been into this for years now, so I'm real excited to have you, speak on it today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a wonderful topic. And, I got into this so long ago. They just kind of blend together for me, whenever I think about, hypnosis and, it really blends together, really comes together at the subconscious mind because, it really is all about, I think the subconscious mind really is where it all happens.
Cool. So we can dive right in, talk to me first, about your early life. Where did you grow up? Where'd you go to school?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I was born in California, actually, near where you live. And then I very early age moved to Washington due to divorce. Not my divorce. But and then I grew up in Washington State, and went to school in high school in Tacoma, Washington. And then I decided I was going to take a year off college. And I guess I'm still taking that year. And I went to go live with my dad back in LA, and and I got my start in becoming, kind of getting into the world of finance. He was a stockbroker, and wow. I worked for him for like the first 6 months or so that I lived there, just to kind of, get my feet wet. And then I ended up moving to Las Vegas, and that's where I finally became a stockbroker. And I did that for roughly 8 years or so. I was making great money. Everything was going great. And, but I kind of realized later, toward the end of that career, I just kind of lost my passion.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get up and get out of bed every day to, go make those cold calls and get to the office, and all of the things that I was doing. And, so that led me to personal growth. I took this personal growth seminar, and was
it Tony Robbins?
It wasn't Tony Robbins, but it was this, it was this class called Psi Seminars in Las Vegas. And it was 4 days, and we really went deep. And, imagine kind of like a Tony Robbins type of seminar, though. It was very much like that, where we really dealt with things, and we really got into ourselves and our emotions, and did a lot of closed eye work. And I just fell in love with this work at that time. And it was just like, almost like I could no longer do what I was doing. And so I had to find a way out. And that's when I became certified in hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And so I became certified. I opened up my own office, and when I did that, I got a business license. And my branch manager, where I was the stockbroker, making a six-figure income, mind you, found out what I was doing. And at that time, I don't know, these days people always have their side hustles, and it's okay. But
Back then.
he did not
Mm.
permit me to have a side hustle.
Oh, wow.
And so he basically gave me an ultimatum. He says, you've got 30 days
Mm.
to kind of figure out what you want to do. And so
Oh, wow.
I made the decision, the wise decision, to quit my six-figure year job and start all over from scratch with nothing.
Wow. That's a big risk, right? But with big risk comes big reward.
It really does. It
Hmm.
really does. And I wouldn't advise anybody else to just up and do that without some serious work on your mindset, because,
Mm.
I had just the beginnings of, a positive mindset, believing in myself, confidence, all of the things, just to get me to that point. But it wasn't enough to like really be able to just dive right in and become ultra successful right away. It
Yeah.
took a lot. And it took a lot of, finally it just took a lot of like, coming to terms with the fact that I still needed to do a lot of work on my mindset to get where I
Mm.
wanted to go.
Okay. So I'm curious. So it sounds like that conference kind of opened you up to, starting your own business and starting the hypnotist practice. So what got you into the law of attraction focus?
It's interesting because I learned about both kind of at the same time. I learned about
Mm.
hypnosis at the same time as I learned about hypnosis. So for me, they were very much like almost like the same topic, and it was really about like again, like in that seminar, there was an expression. They said, to think is to create. It was like
Mm.
up there on the wall. It was the main thing. To think is to create.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really remember that being, and then before that, when I was a stockbroker, we had to read the book Think and Grow Rich, which was another introduction to the law of attraction. So whenever I would talk to people on Facebook and do my social media, I would always talk about manifesting and the law of attraction and
Mm-hmm.
magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
And so what eventually ended up happening was the movie The Secret came out,
Yeah.
and people could finally kind of relate to what I was talking about, because I
Mm.
was a little bit ahead of my time
Yeah.
when I started talking about all of this. And
Mm-hmm.
so when The Secret came out, I was like, okay, now people are really going to understand what I'm talking about. But two things happened with that movie. One, people really started to understand that there's this thing called the law of attraction. And
Mm-hmm.
number, on a positive side, but on a negative side, or sort of positive for me, on a negative side, people were really trash talking it a lot. People were like, oh, that's not true. That's
Mm-hmm.
BS. I've tried to use the law of attraction. It doesn't work. And so that's when I really got really interested in it,
Mm.
because I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people now who this kind of created this niche for me, where I kind of realized, okay, I know why people aren't getting the results. And
Mm-hmm.
that's because they think that all you have to do is, say a few affirmations
Yeah.
and visualize, and voila, your dreams are going to come true.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that you need to get this information. You need to get your desires believable and into your subconscious mind in order for you to have any success at all with the
Yeah.
law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I kind of realized, okay, with my skill of hypnosis and helping to take people into their subconscious mind, and
Hmm.
my love for being able to manifest, I can kind of carve out a little niche for myself. Which, I almost remember the day too, like where I had to give myself permission to do that, where I had to say, like, can it really get better than just doing hypnosis, like for
Hmm.
every, type of topic known to man,
Hmm.
to really niching that down to like where people are going to eventually search for the law of attraction and they're going to
Yeah.
find me. And, and it was like, can it really happen that way? And well, I can attract that. I can manifest that. I can
Uh,
create that reality.
yeah.
And so over time, I just started to kind of get known. I was like, oh, yeah, people think of me as the queen of manifesting. That's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a book about it. And now I've recently actually, I've written a number of books about it. But the main one that I'm known for is the practical law of attraction,
Nice.
because that's the one that kind of just really gets people to really understand, what's involved and,
Yeah.
and the work that you need to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious. So, like, someone who helps their clients with law of attraction, can you share some pivotal moments for you where you started noticing the outcomes of practicing the law of attraction and how these manifestations started to play out in your own life?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the most pivotal moment was actually the way my husband and I got together. And it's a little bit of a longer story, so I'm going to try to shorten it. But I attracted him into my life in the first place by using a recording that I had made called Attract Your Soulmate.
Wow.
And it was really interesting because we had met a few months ago, but then we parted ways. And so went on, a series of different dates with different men, and I started getting very frustrated with the process. And so I started listening to this, this program, and he kind of waltzed back into my life. And it was really interesting because he just responded to this email that I had sent out to a whole bunch of people, letting them know that I was going to be on a TV show, a karaoke contest, and I wanted everybody to vote for me. And so
Uh,
he responded, like, this is within a couple of weeks after I listened to that program. But that's not even the most incredible part.
yeah.
So fast forward to a time when we were living in Florida, and we were kind of like on the outs, and we had been engaged, and we were unengaged at that time, not living together. And so I put it out there that I wanted to get engaged again. This was like in January of like 2007. I put it out there that I wanted to get engaged again. And instead of getting engaged again, we broke up. But then what happened, it was after doing all this, manifesting like the man of my dreams in my mind and everything, he came back into my life. And May 24th, 2007, he proposed to me. And I had said that, I mean, it was absolutely crazy. I'm leaving out a lot of
Yeah.
details, but the bottom line is, I within 3 months we got re-engaged again after, I had started doing that work, and we just celebrated our 15-year wedding anniversary.
Nice. Congratulations. Yeah. So
Thank you.
I'm curious, like, so what's the difference between someone who tries hard to manifest their soulmate, and then there's the other person, it works for one person, and then the other person it doesn't work. So what causes that?
There's a number of things I think that cause that. First of all, is just that your deep beliefs that
Mm,
you usually get from either childhood, like the way that you saw that your family grow up,
mm,
or just the people around you. I mean, you know how many times I hear people say, "Oh, you're really lucky," because there's not very many good ones left in the world. And people are going around carrying that
Oh yeah.
belief that,
Mm-hmm.
there's just not very many good, people in the world. Well, if you go around with that belief, that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you're
Yeah.
going to manifest. And, so they may also have unfinished business from a past relationship. And I experienced that myself before meeting Steve. I had some unfinished business that I had to take care of, and I had
Mm.
to just like take responsibility for why the relationship didn't work out, and also just be able to like totally let it go.
Yeah.
And because sometimes people are like hanging on without really realizing, and
Yeah.
all of that, it creates resistance and it puts up a wall and it
Mm.
blocks your ability to see what might be right in front of your very eyes.
Okay.
And sometimes people, are either like they can also get too specific. So meaning like they get attached to one person, and they're just chasing the wrong person. And so
Mm.
they're not open to, the right person
Mm.
finding them. So those are just
Mm.
a few of the
Yeah.
reasons. I could come up with a lot more.
Yeah, so what I'm getting out of it is basically like you said, like so your deep belief, and for me, I'll share a personal story. It's like, I was very into the law of attraction. I think it was what 2017 when I first started hearing about it. I watched The Secret, I read Think and Grow Rich. Actually, the first book that got me into it was The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. I don't know if you know about that one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I do.
And so it's like I believed in the law of attraction, and I started to see things kind of playing out, but I felt stuck. Like it really wasn't working to its full potential. And it really wasn't until a couple of years ago where I said, you know what? I think I need to like see a hypnotherapist. And I saw a couple of hypnotherapists, and they kind of, yeah, like took a deep dive into reprogramming my mind and letting go of past trauma and these negative energy, negative experiences that I was holding on to. And then yeah, so it's like in these past couple of years, like that's where things are just and then I went to an ayahuasca retreat, and I'm a completely different person. And so I'm continuing with the law of attraction practices, now I can really really feel it taking off, just by starting a podcast. I had social anxiety, and now I'm hosting a podcast and going out there and DJing, and all these things are really happening now. So
That is great.
yeah.
Congratulations on all of, your accomplishments and your success and breaking through.
Yeah.
That's the number one fear that people have. So it's, it's no wonder that you had that fear, because, everyone does. Most people do. I mean,
Yeah.
you're almost like not human, if you don't have some little, I mean, I was sitting here just before just truth be told, I was sitting here like, because I haven't been on TikTok in a while, and I don't know why, but for some reason, like that's my thing. It's like, okay, I need I need to get back on there again.
Hmm.
And I mean, I could sit here and I can talk to 100 people, 1,000 people, or whatever, or I can go on a podcast. But like making those little TikTok videos, like for whatever reason, and but then when you get in the habit of it, and you do that, and you just
Hmm.
kind of break through that fear, you kind of realize, what
Yeah.
was all that nonsense all about? It's nothing to
Okay.
be afraid of. People are just people.
Yeah. So you talked about it for a second there. So how does hypnosis exactly work, like on the mind, and what role does the subconscious mind play in personal transformation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, how hypnosis works essentially is it allows you to take so you have two parts of your mind. You have your conscious
Hmm.
thinking mind, and then you have your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is essentially running the show. Even
Hmm.
though you may, think that you're making all your decisions at a conscious level, you're not.
Hmm.
You're just validating the decisions that have already been made at a deeper level. And And so what, a lot of the decisions that we make aren't, necessarily the decisions that we consciously want
Yeah.
to be making.
Mm-hmm.
And so what hypnosis does is it just kind of gets that part of the mind into, kind of lulls it into not necessarily sleep, but just into, such a state that allows you to become more receptive, allows an opening to happen into the subconscious mind. And we just do that by having people, focus on their breathing,
Mm-hmm.
getting their body and their mind into a relaxed state. And then just start giving them suggestions. And it really is like a two-way, your subconscious mind can work both ways. It can give you information. You can tap into it and find out
Oh yeah.
what's been blocking you. And so you can, go and do like a hypnotherapy session and really talk to the mind and get those answers, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, I see you're nodding your head. So you've
Yeah.
been there, you've done that,
Well,
you've gotten
yeah.
those answers.
Well, no, I haven't done it yet, but like, I had a guest a couple of episodes ago and she does that too. It's the quantum healing hypnosis technique by Dolores Cannon. And so it's like, yeah, it's like,
Yes.
what is that? It's like is it really the higher self, or is it just your subconscious mind? You know, people have different theories on it, it's far out stuff if you look into all that, past life regression and all that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. Well, I look at it like there's three different levels to your mind, at least. But the main levels I consider are the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, which is also it's in your own mind. But then what the thing that we're all connected to is, the super conscious mind or the
Wow.
universal mind,
Yeah.
which is ultimately God. If you really want to like get down to it, that's God. Not from a
Wow.
like Christian or Jewish or Buddhist standpoint, but just God. Like we're
Hmm.
all okay, no matter what you believe, we're all okay, and we all ultimately connect to the superpower that created us all. And so um you know and so that's what I consider the super conscious mind. And it really is the super conscious will that if we have glimpses ultimately of what our purpose is and what we're intended to do
Yeah.
here. But ultimately, I think we need to kind of part of the law of attraction, is really connecting with that God self and
Yeah.
finding out ultimately what it is that we're really intended to do.
Oh
And the
yeah.
closer we get to our
Hmm.
authentic self, our God self, the easier it's going to be for us to
Yeah.
manifest. And I think that that's one of the reasons why people have a hard time
Oh yeah.
manifesting, because really manifesting is like tapping into the power of who you were meant to be in the first
Yeah.
place. So if you're trying to do something that you weren't really made
Yeah.
for or really meant to do, is probably maybe you could will it to happen, but you're gonna have an awfully hard time getting there.
Wow, man, preach. I love it. Yeah, like, you know, I've been wondering, because I feel like, what do you call it? Like, like we all have our destined path. Like we know like our strengths and our abilities and like we know what we're good at. Like some people are not going to be an actor, you're not going to be an actor, but you try so hard and you try and manifest and it just doesn't work out. It's because it's not your path. Um
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And so,
So
yeah, that, people are going against kind of going against the grain. And, you just have to trust that, the God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, wants what you want, or
yeah.
you will want what it wants. And so I personally, I've just been really trying to just kind of hand my mind over to the universe to say, you know what, like just use me. Just take me where I'm
Yeah.
supposed to go, because what can go wrong?
Yeah.
Like, what can really go wrong if you just, kind of allow yourself to be guided to being your best self,
Yeah.
which is really, I think, what we all ultimately aspire to. It's just we all kind of get in our way and think we know what we want.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you have the ideas, you know that, like, I mean, I couldn't believe it for the first little while, 20 some odd years ago, when I was told, that it was my destiny to make these meditative recordings. And I felt like that's too good to be true. Like, in a way, like, it just kind of felt like, really? Like, that's what I get to
Mm-hmm.
do. Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Like, am I
Yeah.
making this up? But somehow or another, I got on that path, and it was a little hard at first. And and part of the reason why it was hard, the part of the story I left out, was because I was trying to muscle my way through it. Like, when I say I was trying to muscle my way through it, like, I was working really hard. I was doing everything myself,
Yeah.
rather than continuing the process of strengthening my mind and going in and doing the hypnosis every day. I said, "Oh, I don't have time for that right now. I need to work, 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 work. I don't have time for all this spirituality that got me to this place in the first place. I
Yeah.
don't have time to, relax and tap into and
Oh.
journal and read and
Uh-huh.
do all those things."
Yeah.
And then, I hit a roadblock one day where, it's like, you got to do this. Like, you have to actually, this is how, like, because I was in such a rush and feeling this, fight or flight syndrome. It's like,
Mm.
work, 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 work. That's the only way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a balance.
Yeah.
It's definitely a balance. You do have to take action, but not just take action.
Okay. Yeah. So what are some common misconceptions about hypnosis and how do you address them?
Oh, so, like, probably one of the biggest misconceptions about hypnosis is that, like, we can get you to do things against your will,
Mm.
and that when you come and get hypnotized, that we have complete control over your mind.
Mm.
And so that's a big misconception. When you are always in control. And so when you come to be hypnotized, it's you are accepting and receiving suggestions. You're totally aware and awake throughout the whole process. Um, so that's one of the things. I would say another misconception, is that it's a quick fix,
Oh yeah.
and that it can just, like, you could just come in and just change everything immediately. And, it is a quicker fix than
Mm-hmm.
trying to do everything with your conscious mind and willing yourself to do things, because, willpower is very not as powerful as the subconscious mind.
Mm.
And but it still does take some time to get that information deeply into the subconscious mind.
Oh yeah.
And so you still do have to kind of do the work. And there's no real such thing as permanency.
Mm.
Everything is changing. Your
Oh
mind is
yeah.
changing
Yeah.
all the time. You're getting new information all the time. You're doing new habits all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you go, and you get new information into your subconscious mind, you still need to nurture that new information.
Yeah.
You still need to uh, be in environments that support that new information. You
Mm-hmm.
still, people are changing, people are engaging with other people all the time. So it's not a quick fix. It's not permanent necessarily. And we don't have any control over, you. You're the only one
Yeah.
that can control, your
Okay.
mind.
Yeah. Okay. So how would you say how can individuals overcome those limiting beliefs and reprogram their minds for success?
Oh, that's such a rich, good question. Well, the first step in reprogramming the limiting beliefs is number one, just to know that anything you believe is a limit.
Oh
Believing
yeah.
in and of itself,
Mm-hmm.
it is a limit in and of itself. And so, ask yourself what it is that you truly desire in this life, and then ask yourself, what are some of the reasons why, I can't have that, or that are getting in my way.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pretty much journal about what's getting in your way, and you can usually get in touch with what those limiting beliefs are.
Yeah.
So that's the first step, is really just knowing what they are, knowing that you have them. And then to release those limiting beliefs, we want to just kind of start to question, like literally dive in. And this is where hypnosis really comes into play, is
Mm-hmm.
really just kind of go back and ask yourself, like, where did this come from? Who taught me this?
Yeah.
How long have I, been believing this? What would
Mm-hmm.
happen if I change this belief? And really
Mm-hmm.
kind of start to create some doubt around whether that belief is actually true or not. And then finally, just creating some new empowering beliefs that are like the opposite of that, seeing
Mm-hmm.
yourself now acting in that new way with these new behaviors and these new actions, and taking action toward who you are meant to become without
Mm-hmm.
those beliefs.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, the one golden nugget that I definitely got out of that Success Principles book was in relation to limiting beliefs was like, instead of saying I can't, like I can't do something, reframe the question and say, how can I?
Yes.
There's always opportunities, there's always possibilities, options to anything. Instead of just saying, "Oh, I can't do that," say, "Wait, how can I do that?" And then your brain starts thinking of, "Okay, I'll do this and then I'll do this." Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too, is we talk so negatively to ourselves, whether we're joking around
Yeah.
or just trying to be funny. I mean, a lot of times, people will just be funny, or they think that they're just kidding or whatever when
Oh
they
yeah.
say things about themselves. But your subconscious mind is constantly listening
Mhm.
to you and
Mhm.
constantly hearing what you're putting into it. And so much of the content we consume, it is very negative. I mean, like, you're in the music business, so a lot of like music out there even that we listen to, it's like, I can't live without you, and little things like that. That we're
Yeah.
constantly, and it just gets into the subconscious mind, because we're putting up no resistance. So, we want to be in the, I mean, because it's all hypnosis. It's not just the 30 minutes or whatever that you're listening to the recording. It's the recording that's going on in your mind
Mm.
all day long. It's the recording of the TV. It's the recording
Oh
of
yeah.
the
Oh
friends
wow.
that you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you don't think about that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have input happening all, the billboards, like advertising. We're constantly being hypnotized. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you probably saw, what happened a few years back. We're all running around wearing masks and, things like that,
Yeah.
and getting vaccinated and all.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't want to get into a political
Yeah.
conversation, but it's like, here we are, like, living our lives perfectly normal one day,
Yep.
the next thing, like, it's like, whoa, it's like
Yeah.
we all, people got hypnotized to,
Yeah.
believe a certain way.
Yeah. Definitely. So can you share any success stories of individuals who have experienced significant transformations through working with you?
Yeah, yeah, gosh, I don't have like any like specific ones that
Mhm.
from like some of my one-on-one sessions, but like a lot of people have, written to me and told me about things that they have been able to do, like finding their soulmates, and getting to get I had a guy, he was just from listening to my podcast actually, he was able to buy his dream house. He came to one of my seminars and he came up to me and he told me he was able to buy his dream house. I've had people start their own businesses and just break away from their 9 to 5 jobs. Relationships,
Wow.
meeting their soulmates. I
Yeah.
mean, you name it. I have gotten all kinds of testimonials, 4,000 testimonials on my
Oh, wow.
website,
Yeah.
from people who have written in. And I'm always like, when I'm put on the spot, it's like, how do I talk about like that, just that one story
Yeah.
there when
There's
there's
so
like
many.
thousands of
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, I definitely feel like, my life is improving in a lot of areas and my goals and everything, but definitely I could use some help with finding a soulmate and I could use help with the financial side. So I don't know, there must
Yeah.
be there's some limiting beliefs that I'm still holding on to or something that needs to change, like a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and I think those things would definitely come to fruition.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
do have a book, this one here, How to Manifest Your Soulmate
Mhm.
using the law of attraction. And
I'm gonna have
I
to get
talk
that
all
one.
about my story and I give like the all the steps.
Uh-huh.
I broke them down into all the steps that it took for me to do that.
Okay. So what are some effective techniques or exercises that we can implement in our daily lives to align with our dreams and goals?
Oh, that's such a rich question too. Well, the first step really is getting clarity. I think so many people, when I ask them what they want, they'll kind of be all over the place. I want this, I want that, I want that. And, it's really important that you really get a focus, and really just dial in on one particular thing and really get clear on what that looks like. And then, you want to really start to notice any of the complaints and negative beliefs that you might
Mm,
have around that, and start to like actually write those down and turn those into reframe them, like we were talking about, into more positive statements.
yeah.
And taking those statements and actually affirming those statements to you. Like,
Mm,
I am uh, such an advocate for writing down your goals and looking at them every day, writing, just getting into the habit of
mm.
writing what you want every single day. There's actually a book out there called, oh, what is it called? Oh, I can see the picture of it, and I had it in my mind.
It's all
Oh,
good.
anyway, this book, it actually really speaks to me about just writing your goals every single day,
Mm.
and just making a list of. It works. It's called It
It
Works.
works.
Yeah. Anyway, so it just came to me. Visualizing, to me, is probably one of the single
Yeah.
most effective
Oh, yeah.
techniques known to man. And you have those people out there that will say, I'm not visual. And I'm just going to say, like, number one, most likely you can visualize.
Mm-hmm.
You just haven't, really worked that part of your brain out
Mm-hmm.
to, see clear images. And it's just like anything, it's like strengthening a muscle in your mind. And it's so
Yeah.
worth it. It's so,
Mm-hmm.
so worth it to really learn how to do that, but not just visualizing in, using your visual senses, but
Mm-hmm.
also using your auditory senses,
Mm.
hearing the, things happening, feeling,
Yeah.
feeling what it would feel like. And so, getting clarity, writing, saying your affirmations, and visualizing, those would be my top four um, tips
Mm,
for
okay. Yeah.
and techniques,
Yeah.
to apply each day.
Yeah, I could definitely be better at, I guess, writing my goals down. I don't know. Are you a big fan of the vision boards? Do you have a vision board? I have one.
I do have a vision board,
Hmm.
and and it was just kind of funny too because the way that they work, they can be very sneaky.
Yeah.
Um so I made a vision board. It actually, as a matter of fact, it was during a Jack Campbell seminar
Oh, really?
recently.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and he has you do a vision board. So it
Yeah.
had been a long time since I've done one, and it was just I only had, like, it was a small one. They send you everything. They send you
Oh,
this little, like, 8.5 by 10 sheet, and
yeah.
you have a very small amount of time to do it. And so I don't know, I kind of started like printing a lot of images out from the internet,
Hmm.
and just to kind of like do it. And so a lot of the images that I put in one particular top corner, and normally when I do a vision board, it's all on one topic,
Hmm.
but in this particular case, I put many different topics on there. And so the one topic that I wasn't even focused on in my life at the time was my body. And I put all these like bikini type, pictures
Hmm.
in there of like having a beach body and
Yeah.
looking good and everything. And I was, at
Hmm.
that time I went to that seminar, I was at the highest weight that I had been at in years.
Uh-huh.
And so I put that vision board sort of behind my printer, and I can only see the top right of this vision board. And out of the blue, I wasn't even focused on this vision board at all, but it's just there. You could just see it. And I just kind of started working on I started going to Orange Theory. I started kind of changing my diet. I
Yeah.
started working out, and I lost 25 pounds. And I realized, I looked back at that vision board, and I realized, oh my God, I just put that out there on this
Oh,
vision
wow.
board like 3 months,
Yeah.
so I think I'm gonna take the finance side and move that into,
Hmm.
clear view,
Oh, yeah.
because, I had no resistance at all to just doing this, this part of the vision board.
Yeah.
And so I do believe in them.
Yeah.
I believe in them. I don't think that they typically work that way. I think you do need to actually look at them every day, with a little bit more intention, and
Mm.
really put yourself into a good feeling state
Yeah.
to allow them to work. I don't, like the John Asseroff, story where he, put the vision board away and didn't look at it for years. And now he's like manifested, the exact house. Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah, yeah.
very uncommon.
Yeah.
Something like that would happen, I
That was
think.
that was on The Secret, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, another thing, another practice that I do is, let's see if you could see here. It's kind of blurry because of my background, but
Yeah,
but
it's your
it's my,
green
yeah,
doing the green screen thing.
it's my cell phone, and I have like alarms that go off like every hour, and they're different I am affirmations, and so it goes off, and I look at my phone and I turn it off and put it back, you know.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. That's a great one.
yeah,
That's a great one.
yeah. Okay, so can you talk to us about your law of attraction planner and your books?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Do I actually have one in here that I can show you? Well, actually I don't. But yeah, because I also had a hard copy. But the one that I'm giving away
Mm-mm.
is, it's digital, and
Yeah.
it is an amazing planner that actually takes you through the process of discovering your desire, creating
Mm,
your desire statement, your visualization statement. And then each, it's broken down, to start off the new month like that every month. And then every week, you plan out, and what your affirmations are going to be, what your
mm,
to-do list is going to be, your gratitudes, all anything that you're doing in your manifesting routine. is there for the week. And then of course it's broken down by day. And so
Wow.
and so it's really an amazing planner.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you the link here, or are you going to just put it in the show notes?
Yeah, I'll put it in the
Do you want me to
description of
tell?
the video. I think I have it. It's the
Yeah. Okay.
21 day manifesting
It
challenge.com. Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it. And yeah, so I need to start working on my 2024 one, because that's going to even be
Mm.
even more improved. But yeah, it's a totally free planner that you can download, and it has fillable pages, so
Mm.
you can just type
Nice.
right into it on
Yeah.
your computer, and then print it out
Nice.
if you want to print it out.
Yeah. Yeah. The listeners, you definitely got to get that planner and
Yes.
start manifesting the life of your dreams. And then your so you have three books. It's the practical law of attraction, and what are the other two?
Then there's also, actually there's four books.
Four.
Well, actually there's five books. I just launched a new book in the last day. Okay,
Nice.
so it starts with Practical Law of Attraction. It's like my signature home book
Mm-hmm.
up there. That's what the planner is based off of. There's How to Manifest Your Soulmate, which of course is, for
Yeah.
helping people to do that. And then there's Attract Good Luck, which is a book that actually has a lot of different NLP
Oh wow.
approaches, to helping you to see opportunities and act on them and attract more good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also my Ultimate Weight Loss Power
Mm.
book, which is, designed to help people. So it's more like a script book for hypnotherapists, but anybody can use it. And then just recently I launched, it's really kind of a different book. It's called My Cat's Secret to Manifesting.
Mm.
And it is a book that I co-wrote with my cat Velvet. And it's really done in his voice. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was the hands, but
Yeah. Yeah.
he was the heart of the book, and really taught me a lot about just how to become more magnetic.
Mm.
And it has like 10 sections in the book that talk to you about various different ways, tips and techniques to
Oh wow.
raise your magnetism.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely feel like cats are magnetic in their own way. They're like, so sometimes they're like hard to get. They play hard to get or whatever, and it makes you want them even
Yeah.
more. um,
It does, it
it
does.
does.
Yes, they're very much that way, and he
Yeah.
he addresses that. He addresses that in the book.
Okay. So how do you recommend individuals handle setbacks and challenges along their journey to success?
Oh, that's a really good question. So the first thing is, whenever you have a setback, I mean, know that like that is, you know, necessary to happen for your growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so you always want to really try to understand, like, what am I meant to learn here from this
Mm.
setback? Really dive in and like connect with the understanding of why you're having that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has setbacks,
Mm.
everyone.
Yeah.
And so you have to, the quicker you can just embrace it and accept it and recognize it for what it is, the quicker you're going to be able to bounce forward. And so I really believe that it's all about, like, what am I meant to learn here? How am I, like, take
Yeah.
responsibility for, just knowing that, like, okay, there's something maybe that I need to do different here. I
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to shift. There's a detour down this path,
Mm.
or and so I need to go on that detour
Yeah.
and go in a different direction, because this way, it maybe is closed off and not working anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I address setbacks.
Mm, okay.
Does
Yeah, I
that
love it.
make
Yeah, I love
sense?
it.
Yeah.
So how can the listeners effectively incorporate the principles of law of attraction into their career and professional life?
Oh, yeah. And that's where I mostly specialize, with helping people is through their careers.
Hmm.
And, so, to me, it all really comes down to knowing your purpose,
Yeah.
and really defining that for yourself and getting ultra clear on where you want to go. Also, it's who you serve and how you serve. And I think so many people, they deal with this imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
and thinking that like they don't have a right to be heard in this world, or
Hmm.
they don't have a place, or they don't deserve, and all of that. So it really kind of depends on like what you're specifically dealing with when it comes to what are the blocks, that you're having. Are you having blocks
Yeah.
around, a lot of people have blocks around money.
Hmm.
And so, but busting through those money beliefs by, maybe just like one of the things is not necessarily making your money goals so high to where they
Mm.
don't seem achievable.
Oh
So
yeah.
many people, they set very unrealistic goals for themselves, or they expect themselves
Oh yeah.
to have these crazy
Hmm.
overnight, or
Oh yeah.
they set themselves up almost to fail
Hmm.
by making just jamming themselves up with way too many habits that they can't possibly get done in one
Yeah.
day. And so, get clear on who you are, who you serve, what it is that you want to achieve, how to achieve it. If you don't know how to achieve it, there's people out there that have achieved it before.
Yeah.
And so, simply use a law of attraction to attract the right people
Mm.
to you,
Hmm.
that, are going to help you to understand what it is that you need to do to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, I love it. So, what about, can you discuss the relationship between gratitude and manifesting abundance? How does gratitude and practices, how do they enhance our ability to attract what we desire?
Oh, gratitude. So, being in that state of gratitude, first of
Hmm.
all, when you truly feel grateful for something, I mean, doesn't that just elevate your whole, way of, uh, seeing the world?
Oh
And
yeah.
you're automatically, so backing up, like I think of abundance, I think of abundance as not necessarily like how much money you have in your bank account, or
Hmm.
how many, things you have in your house or your apartment, or what
Hmm.
kind of car you drive, or all that. It's really a state of mind. Because if you really think about abundance and the things that we want to attract with the law of attraction, we want an abundance of health,
Hmm.
wealth,
Yeah.
friendships, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
Um, it's how we um it's how we perceive what we have
Hmm.
that really makes us abundant.
Yeah.
Because one person can have like $1 million, and they
Hmm.
could totally be like mad and
Miserable. Yeah.
disappointed and frustrated and feel like they're slave to money, or
Yeah.
they don't have
Yeah.
like the livelihood that they
Hmm.
really envision for themselves. While another person, they could have $100, you know, and they just think, oh my God, this is the very best thing that's ever,
Yeah.
happened. And, and they are living in abundance
Hmm.
because of the way that they view whatever it is that they have. So,
Hmm.
what gratitude does is when you focus on and appreciate all the things that that life has given to you. And
Yeah.
it really has, because life
Yeah.
doesn't owe you anything.
Mm-hmm.
Every single thing that we have is a gift.
Yeah.
And when we view every single thing, whether you worked hard for it or not, is
Mm-hmm.
beside the point. It's still a gift.
Yeah.
No one has to give you money. No one has to give you anything,
Yeah.
and so um that you have that job, that you have that house, that you have a roof over your head, that you have your
Mm-hmm.
health, that you have friends, that you have, these devices, that you have
Oh
all the
yeah.
things. I mean, you could when you start to like count your blessings and you
Oh
start
yeah.
to like look at everything that you have versus what you don't have,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to start to feel good. And when you feel good, you're going to do more of the good things. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to attract more. You're going to be in a high vibe. You're going to think better. You're going to think more productive thoughts. You're going to be more
Mm-hmm.
motivated. You're going to
Yeah.
be more confident. You're going to be like, all the things that you need to be. And, it really is about being in that being
Yeah.
state. That it's going to attract you a better life. And so it really is a state of mind
Mm-hmm.
that helps you to manifest more.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I start to have this thought, I'm not religious, I'm definitely more spiritual, especially these past couple years. I'm very spiritual. But I've started to notice, like, there's a fine line between prayer and gratitude. It's like, it's almost the same thing. It's like that's what they're talking about in these religious books. Prayer, it's like expressing gratitude. It is law of attraction. That's what prayer is to me.
Very much. I think
Hmm.
there's actually a lot of parallels that you can draw
Yeah.
between certain religious practices
Yeah.
and the law of attraction.
Hmm.
I mean, they talk about a lot of these things even in the Bible. Not that I've read much of the Bible, but I've, heard certain verses,
Yeah.
and, so many of these, there's so many religious texts that really speak to these very things that we're talking
Yeah.
about. And
Hmm.
so I totally agree with you.
Hmm.
The, prayer,
Yeah.
prayer, not necessarily, it isn't asking for something, it's
Hmm.
affirming,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm. Okay. What advice would you give to someone who is just starting their journey of personal growth and self-discovery?
I would say to somebody who's just starting out, the very first thing that you really want to do is
Hmm.
is it it's about awareness,
Hmm.
getting aware of who you are at the very, very heart
Hmm.
of it. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my likes? What are my dislikes? What do I believe strongly in? And really get to know yourself first
Yeah.
and foremost. That is
Yeah.
the basis of all personal growth, in my opinion, is self-awareness. And because how can you really know what you want to create if you
Hmm.
really don't know who you are? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people don't really take that time to
Yeah.
get to know and love themselves.
Hmm.
So that's the very first step at the heart of the matter is self-awareness, and self-love, loving yourself enough
Hmm.
to know that like you are worthy and you are deserving of all the wonderful good things, in your life. Work on your self-confidence, your
Hmm.
self-esteem,
Hmm.
and build those things up. Those as a basis, um, by themselves are going to help you, even without practicing the law of attraction necessarily. Just by being aware, loving yourself, having that state of confidence and self-worth, you're gonna live a much, much more uh, opportune and abundant life.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was great advice. So kind of closing it out, so what is your vision for the future of your work? And can you send the listeners a final message of love and healing?
Yes, absolutely. So the my final vision, so I've been finishing up this amazing app lately called Believe. And that is really it is my message is, is ultimately to dream it, believe it, achieve it. But my where I see my work going is, once this app launches, I see this app being used. It's a hypnosis app that,
Hmm.
it really helps with the law of attraction and all the things that we've been talking about, personal development. And I see this getting into millions of hands across the globe. This just being a way of life for people to, start and end their day. And there's all kinds of little quick meditations all the way to like long elaborate,
Wow.
30-minute
Hmm.
hypnosis sessions. And I see myself, that kind of going into large group trainings where people will be able to feel like they're part of a community of
Hmm.
people that are all on that same journey together. And really just to like enlighten people to understand that if you have the desire in your heart, you are meant to achieve that desire, and
Hmm.
you can do anything that you set your mind to. You just
Hmm.
need to believe in the power of your mind, and you can have it.
I love it. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Victoria. It's been such a stimulating and insightful conversation. I want to thank you for the work you're doing. And I want to thank the listeners for sticking around to the end. So, Victoria, please tell everyone where to find you. And I'll also add all of your information to the description of the video.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lawrence. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today. And
Hmm.
you asked some very stimulating questions. So that's why we were able to have a stimulating conversation. So thank
Hmm.
you so much. And people can find me on my website, victoriamgallagher.com.
Hmm.
Soon they'll be able to find me through the Believe app, which will
Nice.
be available soon on Google Play and the app stores.
Hmm.
And just take care of your mind, and your mind will take care of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.